My name is Chris Guidotti, and I am the Vice President of East Branch Engineering.
My name is Brandon Silva. I'm a CNC machinist here at East Branch Engineering.
My name is Jared Capsiak. I'm a CNC machinist who runs setups and a variety of parts through this company, everything from tiny little stuff to huge stuff, and it's all intricate, it's all super precise, and we use ProShop 24/7, and it's fantastic.
So I joined the company in 2003 full-time, having worked my summers.
The first time I cut metal, I was 14 years old in high school, so about 24 years now.
I've been a machinist for about 5.5 years now.
Oh, I've worked in about 10 shops previously.
I've worked professionally at 2 different shops and volunteered at 2 others. I do a lot of metal work in my life.
So years ago, my father was working for a large company manufacturing plastic parts for the medical industry. That company decided to stop doing that work, and their customer approached my father to start producing those parts in his spare time. He formed the company in the basement of my childhood home, and ever since then we've been growing the company to what it is today. So East Branch specializes in short-run production of complex milled and turned parts. We're known throughout the area as the problem solvers. So oftentimes a company has difficulty producing a part, they'll come to us and we generally find a cost-effective way to produce that part. So years ago, we used to run Job Boss, and then we switched to E2 shortly thereafter. And E2 was working for a while, but as the company grew and our customers' requirements grew, we found ourselves spending more time managing the system than managing our business. It eventually got to the point that we were spending several hours a week just managing data and getting customers the information that they needed. In order to grow the company, we knew that we would need a new system that could grow with us and handle the challenges of the increased regulations. So our search for a new system took about 2 years. We did demos of probably a dozen systems. So we signed up for an hour demo, and it ended up being over 2 hours going over just even the contact page took us 20 minutes just to go over all the information in the contacts page. So we had that 1 hour get to know ProShop that turned into 2 hours. And I even remember during the interview or that first meeting calling my father into the office to say, hey, you got to check this out. Yeah, once we did the demo, I think we signed up maybe a month after that. There was no other software we were looking at. Yeah, all the systems wanted you to fit your business into their system. They wanted you to change how you ran your operations. How their system worked didn't always align with how we conducted our business. When we saw ProShop, there was enough flexibility in how the system was laid out that it was an easy transition to just move all our operations over to ProShop. So when we started looking at implementing a new management system, we saw the trend to a data managed company. We couldn't run the business on gut feeling anymore, and we needed hard data to make decisions. And ProShop is able to bring all that data together in an easy to view. Yeah, so overall it was the total management of all our data that really helped us choose ProShop. We were fortunate to have Kelsey and Brian as our implementation team. And I remember they were here before we were every single morning of the implementation. They were here before we started, and they were often the last ones to leave. When we were doing the implementation, you got a sense that they understood the problems we were having. If you asked them a question, because they ran a shop and they were in the shop for so long, they already knew the answer. They can offer their experience on how they did it or how they solved a particular problem. Their expertise in ProShop is unmatched. But it was that other side of, we had the same problem when we were running our shop. This is what we did to handle that was enormously helpful. So we did a remote install. So the system was up and running before they got here. So once they were here, we wasted no time training and generating work orders and parts. We were making work orders the day they left on implementation. We ran both systems simultaneously, our old system and ProShop, just to make sure the output was consistent with what our customers were expecting. But there was virtually no lag time to actually working in the system after implementation. Yeah, within a week of training ProShop, we were making work orders and working out of the system. We were supposed to run parallel for 4 weeks, but we found that ProShop was handling the workload significantly easier than our old system, so we only ran the systems together for about 2 weeks. We replaced countless spreadsheets with ProShop. We tried to count, we couldn't. There were always little inventory sheets for this project or that project. So, virtually all those separate Excel sheets are gone. We don't use them anymore. Yeah, with the old system, we were doing double entry. So we would generate all the documentation in E2 and then generate it again in QuickBooks. With ProShop, we generate the information one time in ProShop and we sync it to QuickBooks. So we eliminate all the double entry we were doing. Well, I got to go back to basics on this, and it was the paperless nature. It wasn't uncommon with the old system to chase down paperwork. Where's the traveler was the common question. And as soon as we turned ProShop on, being able to view all the information all in one spot and manage updates to the information was enormously helpful. Yeah, so ProShop has streamlined our operations in the office by bringing all the information together in one easy-to-use location. No longer do we have to go to the file cabinets to pull prints out. All the information we need to get a product running is available as soon as the order is placed. We've saved hours just tracking down paperwork, the most current blueprints, current pricing, or even operation lists. So have we seen a reduction in the time it takes to generate a work order? And the short answer is no. The other system was very easy to generate a work order. But what's more important is the lead time to actually act on the work order. So we can generate a work order and actually start producing parts 2 to 3 weeks sooner than with our old system. In our old system, when a work order was generated, it would often sit on a desk and wait for someone to work on it. With ProShop, when a work order is generated, notifications are pushed out to whoever needs to work on it. Because notifications are sent out, work can start on a work order much sooner than previously. Because of the planning tools in ProShop, we're able to gather tools, materials, and any specialized processes before the work order even makes its way to the production floor. So the time it takes to actually start producing a part is reduced. After we installed ProShop, we started to find some holes in our previous processes. And it became clear that some roles that we had here weren't providing any advantage to our customers. One such role was purchasing. We had a dedicated purchase person, but after running with ProShop, we found that we didn't need someone dedicated solely to buying material. We were actually able to eliminate the position completely and still manage to reduce the lead time to our customers. ProShop has allowed us to streamline our processes in the shop in a number of ways. Using visual work instructions and part check info, we've been able to communicate clearer with our machinists on the floor and get jobs running a lot quicker. There's no longer the question of, well, what did you do last time? All that information is stored, so anyone can access that information and work on parts. Using the tools in ProShop, we've been able to reduce our setup times by over 50%. Using photos of setups, written descriptions, part check info, and sequence details, we've been able to preload as much as we can of the job before it makes its way to the machine.
Setups can be a tremendous weakness in your overall scheduling, because if you're asking questions of how do I do this, how do I do this, I don't remember this, have we changed anything? If you're just going from memory, there's so many opportunities to make mistakes. But because absolutely everything can be documented, it just makes your process faster. You're not guessing, I do this, I do this, I do this. Everything's in sequence, everything's detailed, everything's organized. So you're absolutely gaining time and efficiency and effectiveness because everything's so well documented.
Using the tools in ProShop, we've been able to reduce our quality by over 30%. Our first pass quality is over 99% using ProShop. We use part check info and the first article data to ensure that all our parts meet our customer specifications the first time. Using the quality tools in ProShop, we've been able to increase our first pass yield from 80% to over 99%. So before using ProShop, NCRs were treated as a black mark. Once we installed ProShop, NCRs became a tool that we can use to track quality trends, issues with any machining processes, or even any training issues that we come up with. Part of our management review now is to use Pareto charts and the NCR data to really hone in on areas of our processes that we need to focus on. Before ProShop, we had a combination of paper file cabinets and folders on our server. With ProShop, we've been able to streamline how that data is stored outside of the system. It's worthy to note that the amount of files we have has reduced significantly once we installed ProShop. We no longer have setup sheets, images, and scrap paper with notes all over them. All that is stored digitally in ProShop now. So we've greatly reduced the number of files that we even need to manage. In ProShop, when you create a new part, ProShop will automatically create the folder structure you need to manage all the documents associated with the part. So the file management becomes as simple as dragging a file into the correct folder that's already there. We no longer have folders with different names. Every part has the same structure, so it's a lot more uniform, and everyone is aware and knows where to put parts. We can access all the part information from the ProShop part page with a simple click. ProShop has had a huge impact on our final inspection process. Final inspections before were sometimes an all-day affair. Now with ProShop, it's a simple click of the button to enter the data or even generate reports based off of in-process data. With ProShop, all the information that the inspector needs is available on one single page, and it can be printed with the click of a button.
The inspection aspect is absolutely fantastic. Again, it's isolating your variables, it's repeatability. You're not wondering what's changed from the last time you were running a batch of parts. Every single detail of what you need to look at is there. You can compare results from every single time you ran that job. It's a complete record of the data that was collected. You can defend your process. You can reevaluate your process. If you find an issue, you can analyze it for patterns. I mean, everything is right there. It's really superb. There's no questions. The guesswork is taken away. It's a fantastic record of, how did we create this process? Can we troubleshoot it? Can we make it better? Well, let's look at the data. And you've got everything in front of you.
ProShop is able to pull together the document package, including material certs and vendor certs, with the click of a button. ProShop can even retrieve the certs for any subcomponents of a top-level assembly. With our old system, it was very difficult to track on-time delivery. With ProShop, we've been able to maintain 99% on-time delivery for our production orders. Our machinists have adapted very well to the paperless system. At first, there was some hesitation about not having a print in front of them, but once they realized the amount of information that they have available, it really helped them understand what the system is and how it can help them. In general, they like all the information that they have, so they can make decisions easier and without tracking down a manager.
The tools that ProShop offers is, like I said, very intuitive, keeps you organized a lot better than I guess you would without it, that's for sure. Everything's very user-friendly. You're able to access a lot of the informational points or sections, I guess, just to keep track of your own, productivity, the quantity of parts, tooling, revisions of blueprints. There's a lot of different options for, I guess, keeping yourself organized, especially with ProShop.
I think the greatest strength here is that you're removing so many of the variables. You're not dealing with picking up other people's messes. You're not picking up something halfway through, trying to figure out if you have all the paperwork, if there's forms missing, if there was a detail that's super critical from the last time you were running this project that's now missing because there was no traceability, there was no data input. The fact that we can record everything, that we can itemize everything and make every single tiny or super critical detail repeatable and available every time we need to access it in the future is the absolute greatest strength. So you're not asking the same question more than once unless there's no reason to. You've got it, you figure it out the first time and then you're good forever. So the only evolution is, hey, how do I make this better? You're not reinventing the wheel every single time you do something over and over. You've just got traceability and data management, and the systematic approach just takes away the guess factor. So it's really phenomenal. It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, during the actual interview process, we sat down and we were going over how ProShop functions and all the available options that you can use with it for tracking, traceability, efficiency, and that was actually one of the large reasons I decided to work for East Branch Engineering, was their usage of ProShop and just the way you can organize with the system. If I was speaking to a machinist that was nervous about starting the usage of ProShop, who was already used to a paper environment, I would say not to worry at all. It's extremely intuitive, very easy to use. If you're already used to working in a production environment and you're keeping track of your parts and jobs already, then you should be able to basically drop right into ProShop and set sails and go. No, this is the first shop I've worked at in a paperless environment. No, I never want to go back to paper. Once you use ProShop, I almost want it to kind of organize my life, honestly. ProShop's made my job easier by being efficient, super intuitive to use, very straightforward. I enjoy the organization of it. Again, the efficiency of how it works, being able to keep track of everything, the traceability.
The thing that makes everything easy and straightforward is that everything has a place. Everything is so categorized and systematic that it's a question of how detailed do you want to go down the rabbit hole. Everything can be taken care of, everything can be managed. It's just a question of putting in enough information. So we can keep track of every single detail. It's just a question of putting it in, and then everything becomes a procedure. You do it once, and you can do it 1,000 times after that. Everything's taken care of. So really, there's no guesswork the second time or the 500th time. It's all right there. We just have to put it in.
The way ProShop works seems to be much more proactive than reactive in my experience so far. You're able to look ahead, plan ahead, record said items or details. I think it's just a better organizational system altogether than trying to do folders or file cabinets. It just gets much too cluttered, especially with revision changes, and especially nowadays everything's on the fly, so it's good to be able to be up to speed, I suppose.
Because I can access the system and everything's there, it's like pulling a book out of a library with just the information of, hey, what part am I working on? Okay, I can pull up blueprints, I can pull up specs, I can pull up procedures, I can pull up photo and video of that project being done in the past. So everything's perfectly recorded, so as long as the information's in the system, I'm not asking questions that make me stop. I can just go from beginning to finish. And that's the beauty of it. It's just, you open it and everything's at your fingertips.
Using a paperless system like ProShop makes tracking changes significantly easier. We don't need to track down paper copies on the shop floor. Any changes that occur are pushed out to anybody that needs to know. One of the surprising things about going paperless was how many issues we actually had with paper. When you're living in a paper system, there are things you do that you do not realize you're doing. Once you go paperless, you start finding yourself having free time because you're not tracking paperwork down. And I think what was surprising was the amount of time we were actually taking to manage paperwork. So we've seen employee satisfaction actually increase once we install ProShop. One of the major complaints with our previous systems was employees didn't know a lot of the information they needed to do their jobs. Now that they have all that information available, employees are generally a lot happier. So we use ProShop as a sales tool now. We show potential customers and even existing customers the system and how we're managing their data. We had the case of a customer come in for a shop tour, and we showed them ProShop, and they were blown away by how much information we had available. We showed them live data on the parts we were running while they were here, and they were amazed that we can even show them material certs or inspection data for parts that were actually running while they were sitting in the conference room. One of our customers was going through improvement initiatives, and one of those initiatives was to pare down their vendor list. And we were dual sourced on a number of parts. And after a site visit and seeing our system compared to their paper-based system, we were awarded the sole vendor for that part, and subsequently increased our business with that customer 2 times. So we recently were recertified in ISO 9001. The auditors absolutely loved ProShop. They had commented that it was the most audit-friendly system they had ever seen. Traditionally, before an audit, we would spend weeks preparing documentation. With ProShop, we didn't prepare at all. They walked into a live system with live data, and we were able to answer the audit questions without any issues. For manufacturing companies that produce complex parts with complex inspection requirements, based on all the research we've done looking at other systems and the systems that we've actually run, ProShop is the only system we would use going forward. I would recommend any company looking for a system to look at ProShop. So with ProShop, the onboarding for a new employee is very short. With the training materials in ProShop, an employee is on the floor working in work orders the day they are hired. ProShop came pre-configured with an org chart that we can use to onboard employees very quickly. The positions are compliant with and in line with ISO requirements, and we're able to get employees on the shop floor producing parts quicker. What feature can't I live without with ProShop? That's a hard question. I think every feature that we use helps us in our daily work life.
I think what I love most is that at any point in time, there's a place for everything. Every single detail of what you're doing can go somewhere. So you can pull it up later and find it. There's no questions. You do it once and you're done. It's perfectly recorded. It's perfectly organized. Everything's layered. Everything's lined up. So you don't lose anything. So whether you're doing something in a week or 5 years down the road, everything's there. You're not losing any time regardless of how many times you do the same project.
With ProShop, we've been able to increase our throughput by about 25% without adding additional employees or machinery. We're able to get work done quicker, which means we can get more work through the machines than ever before. I remember one point where we had a 2-month backlog in lathe work, and the lathe department had stopped coming to me. Parts were moving out the door, but I didn't really talk to the guys that much. And I remember one day they came up to me and they said, "Hey, what's next?" And I said, "What do you mean, what's next?" I said, "Well, we finished the backlog. We need the next couple work orders." And I was shocked because, I had very little interaction with them. And because of the planning and because of the material being there on time and the tooling being there on time, they were able to autonomously work through that backlog. And I was shocked. When we were running our previous system, there was always this idea of catching up. The tooling had to catch up. We had to overnight tooling because the job was on the machine waiting for tooling. And we were spending thousands and thousands of dollars on overnight shipping charges or, sending guys to pick tools up at the vendor. With ProShop, we're able to pull the tooling in before the material makes it to the machine. By proactively planning our work orders, we're able to increase our machine utilization by having the right tools and the right material at the right time. We've seen double-digit sales growth while using ProShop, while also increasing our margin significantly. If I can go back and talk to myself when our shop first needed an ERP, I would say don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't think you can get by with what you've got. The benefits of a system like ProShop far outweigh any implementation challenges you may have. Do we have a sense of the ROI on our ProShop purchase? I don't know, the amount of savings we've seen between overnight charges, increased sales due to spindle utilization, decreased lead times. ProShop has paid for itself several times over. Do I think ProShop's expensive? The short answer is no. The benefits to running ProShop and the cost savings far outweighs the cost of the software. Other softwares that may cost less don't offer the same features, and I would bet that you'd be managing that system more than you would be managing ProShop. So do I feel less stressed running ProShop? Well, I'm in manufacturing, so I'm always stressed. But I will say that I'm able to focus more on running the business than putting fires out like I was with the previous systems. We're a lot more proactive, and a lot of times the stress that you have in manufacturing comes from just handling issues that come up. But with ProShop, we've been able to address those issues before they become problems. So in general, I'm much less stressed. I'm a lot easier to get a hold of and talk to, and I'm going home a lot earlier, which my family thanks. Yeah, I think the value of our company has increased after installing ProShop. Just the gain in sales alone has really given a boost to the company's value. But really the value of a company like ours comes down to our employees. We're able to use our employees a lot more effectively. So that right there is really where the value in manufacturing comes from. Anybody can produce a part, but being able to effectively use your employees, that's where you generate the value. So using ProShop and the tools with ProShop, we've been able to give our employees an environment that they can grow and learn in, and are generally much happier. I'm excited for the next couple of years of East Branch. We've positioned our company for growth, and we've got the right people on board now. So, the new technology we're implementing the new customers we're picking up. It's a very exciting time for us. If I were to talk to another shop owner currently doing research on ERP systems, I would tell them to look at the company behind the system. Does that company know what it's like to run a shop? The team over at ProShop have run shops before. They've been in the same shoes, so they understand the problems that you're facing. I remember when we were doing our search for software and the implementation, every single question or issue we had, they had run into before. You know, the system is the system, but it's the support and the team behind that system that are going to make you successful.
I could not do what I do here without ProShop. ProShop is absolutely the backbone of how we operate. It's integral to our efficiency and our level of high performance. It's absolutely revolutionized how I look at being a professional machinist. It's a godsend. It's fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely a game changer.
ProShop is absolutely a game changer. We couldn't run the business the way we run it now. We couldn't see the same growth without ProShop. It's changed how we run everything. It's absolutely a game changer.
ProShop is 100% game changing. It makes you faster. It makes you more accountable. It makes you more efficient. It takes away worry. It allows you to eliminate problems before they even happen. It just makes you better because everything's there. The more information you put into the system, the better it makes you, the better it helps you. I'm having trouble complimenting the system enough. It absolutely is a game changer. ProShop gives us the opportunity to get better at what we do. So you've provided a system, a tool that becomes part of our process. And when you make us better, we can use ProShop more efficiently. When we can use ProShop more efficiently, we get better at what we do. So it's this constant supportive system of evolution. I have everything I need. I become better at what I do. If I have questions, if I'm running into problems, I can go back, look at everything. I can look at my procedures. I can look at my data. I can look at my documentation. I can find areas where I can improve. So I'm constantly using the system that's available, and I'm constantly evolving and improving from it. Yeah, it's really terrific, and it makes us better every single day.
Do I love ProShop? Yes. ProShop makes my life a lot easier. It makes coming to work a lot easier. And we're really able to do a lot more exciting things. So I love ProShop. I love the team at ProShop. And I couldn't see it any other way.
I do. I thoroughly enjoy using ProShop. Again, just the way it's organized, the intuitiveness of it, the ease of access to different modules. We have a saying around here, trust in the system. And we definitely trust in the system. Seems to be working excellently thus far. No, I do love it. Like I said, if I could have it for my life to organize, your normal day-to-day operations, I definitely would use it. So yeah, you could say I love using ProShop.
Oh, I absolutely love using ProShop. I think every shop that does anything that they want to be good at should be using ProShop. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I want ProShop for my home workshop. It's wonderful. It's absolutely perfect.
My name is Chris, and my shop is powered by ProShop.